Shazia Ilmi, who's the BJP national spokesperson, and we spoke to her about the Waqf board. Thank you, Shazia, for joining us. And my big question, how big a win is this for Muslim women and the poorer, less privileged Muslim community, since the government is pushing for their representation in the Waqf board?
I think it's very important for women to be there. And the unfortunate part is that all these years, we have seen just how rich the Waqf properties are. Imagine having properties to the worth of 9.54 acres, lakh acres. Imagine you have more than 9.5 lakh acres, which is part of the Waqf property. But when you look at Muslims as a religious group, you find them as the poorest, most economically and socially and educationally backward. Just imagine if these Waqf boards were doing their work as is their goal, which is well-being of the poor, how different things would have been for the same community. So I think this amendment was necessary, not just for women, but also for the very poor, marginalized Muslim who has no recourse whatsoever. Just imagine, we are looking at properties worth 1.2 lakh crores. Can you imagine what that money means? Can you imagine how many schools and colleges and hospitals and shelter homes we could have had? How many more children, Muslim children, could have had education, scholarship, and other provisions? So it is very unfortunate that there has been not just complete mismanagement, but arbitrary powers have been given according to the Act of 1995 by the Congress government, only to kind of attract them after the Babri Masjid demolition fiasco, and they wanted to attract Muslims back in the track, so they just gave unlimited powers. Can you imagine? I can't just take over your land. I can't just say that, oh, my grandfather prayed there, so your land is mine. So you have to decide. There is also a statute of limitation. How many years back do you want to go? You can't say that Shah Jahan gave his property to his daughter and now it's Waqf property. So and also by user, you can only give the property which has been given by your forefathers, and can't give anyone else's property to someone else. So there are many, many things that are very important and they needed to be changed.
How do you feel the bill streamlines the verification process and ease dispute resolution?
How do you do verification? We both can be locked in a battle as to this land is mine and that land is yours. But tell me, there has to be verification. So a revenue officer whose duty it is to actually ensure that there is verification and the land deed and title is checked and is verified, only then can it be registered. How can Waqf land not come under that ambit? Also, everything else, every dispute, you can seek remedy, except for this special act of 1995, according to which the tribunal's decision is final. That means there is no remedy. That means it doesn't matter. A poor Muslim can keep seeking claim to a particular land, a piece of land, which is decided by a Waqf board and the tribunal that is someone else's, and he or she has no right to go to district court, high court, Supreme Court. So how can any law be more important than the Supreme Court and the Constitution of India? One can't understand that. And not just that, there's so many Muslim countries. You don't have any provision of a Waqf board handling properties in the manner that we have in India. Look at Turkey, look at Libya, look at Egypt, look at Jordan and Tunisia. There is no such body which works and regulates matters of property which are considered Waqf. So it is just the worst kind of means for corruption and to keep a few families in power and to leave the rest of the community in a state of despair, because the whole idea of Waqf is to reach out and help out and be available for those who need alms, who need charity. It's called Allah ki property, and you're supposed to help in charitable purposes.
What do we do with the properties that have already been claimed? For example, the Tiruchendu Rai village in Tamil Nadu, which was claimed by the Waqf?
So see, when we talk about the statute of limitation, when you talk about how many years are you willing to go back? I mean, you just can't say, like, this is what I answered. You can't just say 500. The village that you're talking about in Tamil Nadu, that particular district, there is a village, there is a temple which is 1500 years old. And a poor family member wanted to sell his land for his daughter's marriage, or he needed money. And he was told that the entire village, including the temple and all the houses in that village, are under the Waqf property. How has that happened? Where has that happened? What are the papers that substantiate or corroborate this? Nobody knows. It is a Waqf property, so you can't dispute it. So there has to be, and please, and this rumor mongering that is being done, that it's against Muslim, actually, it's for the poor Muslims. It's against some corrupt religious, zamidars and feudal lords who have usurped these lands, claiming them as Waqf, and are using them for their own gains. I will tell you, in 2018, Amanatullah, who took over the Waqf property, actually filed a case in the Anti-Corruption Bureau and proved that 62 bighas of land was given by the erstwhile, the former chairman, which was Haji Mateen and Harun Yusuf. And they gave 62 bighas of land, just for 1 crore donation, and leased it out for a long period for 25 paisa per unit. So that's how it's done. And then later on, the same Amanatullah, who became the Waqf board chairperson, used it for his own gains, and then he was arrested for the same. So this is how it works. Chairman after chairman, party after party, they come to power, they use that as their own land, and it becomes like a land mafia. And the poor Muslim and the community member has no either remedy or recourse or any benefit whatsoever from the Waqf property, the idea of which is to provide insaf and justice, financial justice to the needy.
Now, is this a reform that will push inclusivity within the Muslim community?
See, something like the Triple Talaq bill, I mean, something that is not even part of the Quran, was being carried on in the name of religious practice in India for years. So the Muslim clerics in India were ready to go against the word of Quran only to keep the pernicious practices on. And it was BJP government which ensured that something that is in consonance with the spirit of not just the constitution but also Quran is done properly, and that women are given justice. Similarly, even where this bill is concerned, and this amendment that we are seeking to 1995 Act is an important step in that direction, and it ensures social justice and financial justice and equality to all the members of the same community, whether they're the poorest of the poor or they are right up there as the richest landlords of the land.
Shazia, now that we've seen, you spoke about the Triple Talaq ban, and also, another policy change that was brought by the BJP government, Hajj without Mehram, and there are other such reformative moves. Does it prove that the Modi government is making a genuine effort in bringing reform and changing the lives of the Muslim community?
See, something like the Triple Talaq bill, I mean, something that is not even part of the Quran, was being carried on in the name of religious practice in India for years. So the Muslim clerics in India were ready to go against the word of Quran only to keep the pernicious practices on. And it was BJP government which ensured that something that is in consonance with the spirit of not just the constitution but also Quran is done properly, and that women are given justice. Similarly, even where this bill is concerned, and this amendment that we are seeking to 1995 Act is an important step in that direction, and it ensures social justice and financial justice and equality to all the members of the same community, whether they're the poorest of the poor or they are right up there as the richest landlords of the land.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.